Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. It is Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. Ron Placone will be joining us in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Boom, shellac-a-lack, boom, everybody. Bring it up. Oh, we don't want this. Hello, citizens of Gotham. You are watching the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. All right. I feel like something's not registering because nobody's making any comments and it is not visible. It is not visible. I don't think anyone's getting it on the YouTube yet. Nope. Ah. Oh, there we are. Victoria Williams, what's up? Michael Montegenio. Hello. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hello. Share this out on your social media, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Placone will be joining us in a jiff. In a jiff. Yeah, I'm not seeing this. Hello, John Chow. Hello, Bryson. Hello, Raisinette. Trust the shooters. What's up? All right, you're seeing it all. Still having a little bit of a. There we go. Now it's playing. There's a flaw. There's a flaw here, Monty. What are you, Monty Hall now? There's a flaw. There's a flaw here, Monty. What movie is that from? Oh, boy. 27 people watching. What's up, Noel? What's up, Rick? What's up, Truth to Tweet? Oh, she got her Dark Knight, the Vigilante. Got her cup of Dark Knight. I'm ready for the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's only 20 some left. We only had 50 made. Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. They're numbered like number 28 of 50, 29 of 50. So it's a cool like souvenir keepsake type thing. So get them quick. Get them quick. Shave something for justice keeps hiding my comments. Weird. Hello, Kim. Yeah, it is. Trust the shooters as far as YouTube is concerned. It's a little bit funny. 71,535 subscribers, which is good, but we were sitting at 71,400 subscribers for like a week or two. Now we're at 71,500. We should be adding like a couple hundred a day, really. Is really what should be happening. So make sure you're subscribed, everybody. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But make sure you are subscribed because we don't know $33 watching, only 15 likes. Hit the like button, everybody. I'm going to brew some tomorrow and make Ice Vigilante. Nice. You didn't get any YouTube notifications. Well, I know. That's like a crapshoot whether you get a notification or not. But I'm going to share this out on the social media. Wow. Hello. Green Party 2020 posted. Oh, hey, OC, are you still excited to see that task force work you all did with Biden's team? Oh. All right. 44 people watching. Hi, Graham. Have you heard Tulsi make a statement on Kamala? No. Bring Borden Sheridan on and share the viewers. He's back on the street with the people. All right. We had him on a week or two ago. Ilan Omar congratulated Kamala on the VP pick. AOC cheered on Facebook and Twitter, labeling a bunch of users Russia and Chinese the other day. I know. What's up, Dimitri OG? What's up? Emblem Fate. No, that's not the one I wanted. There it is. Emblem Fate, shave your knuckles for justice, folks. Great way to support the show is do what Emblem Fate just did. There's a little dollar icon at the bottom of the chat there on YouTube. If you hit that dollar icon, you can donate any amount of money from $1 on up, and it all helps to go towards the show, and I will answer whatever your question is. You see that Malcolm Cycle of Poverty vid? Oh, you know what? You sent that to me. Hold on. I'm going to go get that right now. And we'll show that. I love that Trump is calling Joe Biden like a radical leftist. Poverty. Yeah, all right. I got that teed up emblem. Emblem Fate. Oops. Rick Marusa, shave your knuckles for justice. A little something for you. Love your show. Last night's speakers were all cliches and platitudes. Yeah, Ron's going to come on the show. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about. We're going to talk about all this. Oh shit, Jimmy's going live. I didn't know that. I love Mike McRae. Should have had you Wisconsin, Graham. Guts them guns. I know. Who put the ha bang bang? There are former Trump voters voting for Biden and Harris. They're not radical or left. Yeah, Joe Biden is a fantastic Republican. So if you're like a Republican that just thinks Trump is too out of control, Biden is a great choice. Like my Republicans, old school Republicans, center right, they're going to vote for Joe Biden. It is insane. It is. Oh. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, waiting around Placone, everybody. Why don't you go on after Jimmy Tour instead of the same time? I don't know when Jimmy's going on. I thought he was not going on till later. We don't work at like a network, and we all like. I just decided to go on. Usually I check if Jimmy like puts on his Twitter feed, "Hey, I'm going live at 4:00 or something." Then I will wait, but I didn't see that. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, here's Rod Placone.
Hey, buddy. What's up?
What's up, dude?
How's it going? Welcome to the world of StreamYard.
Isn't it fantastic? I'm excited about it.
Dude, I told you it's great. Now all you need to like really, Ron Placone yourself is get one of these big freaking balls on your microphone.
I just need to get a giant, massive, crazy mic.
Dude, man, just don't feed it after midnight. Don't get it wet, and it'll be a great companion for you.
My producers walked me through how to do this, but I forgot. How do you like put graphics up on the screen during StreamYard?
Well, you can do a share screen, and then you could like show your computer screen. So like you can show your browser that way and make sure you pick the right window. And yeah, I mean, that's like the best way to do it. And then of course you can have like your background, which you figured out. I see like the political vigilante thing in the corner. And you can also do something for like your actual background too, or you can just leave it, completely dark like you got it.
Okay.
The Honorable.
All right. Well, let's do. I want to show this. Where is that?
This is the first time I've been on the receiving end of a StreamYard, because I've been using it a little bit now, and I've always just like send it to other people, and I always have to do like the disclaimer. I'm like, it's just like Zoom or Skype. It's the same
kind of.
It's very easy. It's just. But so this is great. More people are using it. So like I won't, the more people use it, the less I'll have to explain it in the future.
Okay, this is weird. This is not what I wanted to do.
So I think you might have like shared your entire screen. You just want to pick like one window and put what you have in it, and then make sure you're sharing that browser. If you go to like share screen, it'll allow you to pick the right browser you want.
Okay.
The audience is loving this, dude.
This is great. They're loving tech talk.
We're learning so much.
Oh, it's so
about this streaming service we might never use.
Maybe this is what. No, is that? Why did it go way over there?
Do you have like a third setting that's just like? Oh, okay, so I get it. So that's your computer screen. That's what it is.
Wow, I thought I had this figured out. Clearly, I do not. All right, hold on.
Well, I can see the browser.
Yeah, there it is.
But
why isn't it going? All right, hold on. This is fun.
It's just me and you now.
Why can't I just center this? I don't want it. I want it like here. All right, there we go.
Yeah. Well, when you do it, I mean, the audience doesn't see, like they see something different anyway.
Okay. All right, let me. Okay, cool. That's what we want. Boom. There it is. Oh, perfect. But then it's behind me as well. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So it's like behind you.
Behind me.
And I think you might want to send. Yeah, there you go. Now we see your full face.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to show this Malcolm X poverty video that was sent to me by Emblem Fate. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. I'm joined by the Honorable Ron Placone.
Howdy, howdy, everybody.
And we're going to talk about this video from Malcolm X, which I'm going to hit play on, I swear to God.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that our people are scientifically maneuvered by the white man into a life of poverty. Because we are forced to live in the poorest sections of the city, we attend inferior schools, we have inferior teachers, and we get an inferior education. The white power structure downtown makes certain that by the time our people do graduate, we won't be equipped or qualified for anything but the dirtiest, heaviest, poorest paying jobs that no one else wants. We are trapped in a vicious cycle of economic, intellectual, social, and political debt. Inferior jobs, inferior housing, inferior education, which in turn again leads to inferior jobs. We spend a lifetime in this vicious circle, or in this vicious cycle going in circles, giving birth to children who see no hope or future but to follow in our miserable footsteps.
Powerful words.
Yeah, very powerful words. And I really want to talk about that because obviously that's been going on for a long time.
That's a healthy 18-year-old brain.
In, you know, what has been happening in the Black community for a very long time. But it really, it's now, I mean, and this is, they've extended this now to, I mean, now it's like they've figured out, well, we could kind of extend that to everybody. I mean, they've absolutely done it in the Black community, the Latino community, the Native American community. But now it's like, oh, with the 2008 housing crisis that wiped out a lot of Black wealth and Latino wealth and just middle-class wealth in America of any ethnicity. Now this pandemic and the CARES Act is setting everybody up for more of this. So, I mean, how do you, when you hear that, obviously there's so much about what Malcolm X said back in the 60s. I've done numerous videos on it just recently that are so on point today. I mean, if he was alive today, they would just call him an insane person or something, or I don't know what would happen. But what when you hear this, obviously what he's talking about, he said this in the 60s, but as it relates to today, how do you see this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, the middle class has been eroding for a very long time, and it does not discriminate between races or ethnicities. It's applying to everyone, and I think Carlin kind of nailed that. You know, in, was it the 2008 special, when he was just saying, look, they want people that are just competent enough to, you know, keep their system going, but aren't tuned in enough to realize that they're getting screwed over. Yeah. And are just gonna, you know, keep going along with it. They don't want a society capable of critical thinking. And that's really just what the ruling class does. And as you know, the middle class has completely eroded. We don't have a middle class anymore. It doesn't exist. So that middle class that existed in the 60s, you know, it's pretty much gone. I mean, and even then, the ruling class was starting to rear its head because, you know, I mean, people like Malcolm X, people like, you know, Fred Hampton, there were a lot of white people listening to them too. Yeah. Because, you know, they made those connections between, you know, race struggles and class struggles. Of course, it's not a total overlap, but there's definitely some overlap. And it's like, hey, they want us fighting against each other. You know, they want
getting along. I mean, like when Fred Hampton went to those Southern whites that were in the hillbilly Harlem neighborhood of Chicago and said, capitalism is causing this, is causing racism and race problems. when Bobby Kennedy was waking up to the fact, and Martin Luther King were waking up to the fact, wow, there's a lot of poor white people in this country too. Obviously, the black community always gets it worse. Always
Right,
gets it
right,
worse.
right.
But like, wow. And now, like you said, the ruling class over the last 4 or 5 decades has gone, oh man, we can stick it to everybody. And what was left of the middle class just got knocked out in the last 3-4 months. And
Big time.
I don't see it coming back.
No, it's not. I mean, it's because it's gone in the sense that it is just kind of with like the baby boomer generation, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're just literally the last ones that just, had a middle class. It's completely gone. So, like Gen X doesn't have it. Millennials don't have it. Zoomers have it even worse than everybody else. So, yeah, we have no middle class. We have no middle class. I mean, this is capitalism to the nth degree.
Yeah, it's really like, and I'm going to do a segment on it a little bit, but the looming 28 million evictions is like no joke. That's coming, and that's going to be brutal. And I don't think, I think people who make a nice 6-figure income, and some of them think they're closer to the 1% than they are to the working class, and they're really going to find out how mistaken they are. Because let's say you make, I don't know, let's say $300,000 a year. That's a really great salary. You're $700,000 away from even just being a millionaire. You are, 99 million $700,000 away from having $100 million. You're only $250,000 away from making $50,000. You're $275,000 away from being the working poor. And that's what's worrisome, is somebody who makes $200,000-$300,000 a year, and maybe they have a little condo they rent out, or a 3-bed, a 4-unit apartment complex that's an income property, that's making them, but then that's getting wiped out. I know people who had good salaries and they didn't qualify for unemployment, and now they're burning through their savings.
Yeah.
Like, what's everyone who had savings, they should say you should have 6 months of savings. Everyone that had, most people don't, but all the people that did, well, that's getting close to running out. I mean, if you got unemployment, great. If you got some sort of, you have a small business owner and you got a loan or an EIDL or something, and some of that's forgiven, some isn't. But even that window is closing on that. I mean, the unemployment's ending. And so it's like, what Malcolm X said, it's almost like he gave that speech and the ruling class went, hey,
yeah,
do this to everybody.
He just gave us a manual. This is great. We can do this to everyone, and then awesome.
Yeah, that's how we're going to give everybody equality. We're going to stick it to everybody the way we, and so, I don't know, as we, we're in month, what is it? March, April, May, June, July. We're in the 6th month now.
I mean, who's counting? The time just flies when you're having a great time,
How do you, where do you see all of this happening?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with, if nothing is done about what should we call it? Like the eviction apocalypse or what? Like,
right.
If nothing's done about that, we're in a lot of trouble. I guess you heard 28. I heard up to 40 million people nationwide will potentially lose their homes. If nothing's done about that, that's an insane number. First of all, everybody who thinks that, we get rid of Trump and all the problems go away on November 4th. If you really think that, you should be fighting tooth and nail to make sure people don't leave their homes, because this is just an objective truth here. If nothing's done about what happens to what's happening to the Postal Service, which apparently they're stalling some of that. But if nothing's done about that, nothing significant's done about that, and if nothing's done about the 40 million people that are going to lose their homes, there is no way. And this has nothing to do with how I feel about Joe Biden. This has nothing to do with how anyone feels about Biden or Trump or anything else. There is just no way in a scenario like that an incumbent Republican loses an election. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So Trump will for sure win if nothing is done about either of those two things. He will for sure win. It's just a guarantee. You can yell at lefties on YouTube and Twitter all you want. They have nothing to do with either of those things. And if nothing is done about either of those things, Trump ain't going anywhere. That's just a guarantee.
Well, it's the thing we were talking about earlier. I mean, you've got like the Lincoln Project, which is a very conservative organization endorsing Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is getting a lot of the moderate. He's got the moderate Republican vote locked up. I mean, like, and even if, but like, even if whoever wins,
Did you see John Kasich standing on that goofy crossroads sort of football looking field thing, just giving his speech?
Yeah, and he's
So
it's. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, whoever's the president, they're going to have to deal with this. And the 28 million evictions, to clarify that number, that's 28 million estimated properties or apartments. That's not number of people. I mean, it's probably, like you say, 40 or 50 million people. I mean, anyone that has a roommate, married, kids, spouse, whatever. So it's, you take all 28 million, you're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood. If the average number is, I don't know, 2 or 3 per household, you're talking about 50 to 60 million people out on the streets. They just evicted a woman in Memphis, Tennessee with COVID. And
oh my God.
And the cop showed up and were like, hey, I'm just doing my job. Yeah, that's what the Nazis said. And that's the thing. You don't have to do your job. Police officers, soldiers, you can say no to this. You can just say, I'm not doing this. And so, I mean, is that what you got into the police department for, is to kick an old woman out on the street who has COVID, which then becomes a health risk? Like the health department was saying, you shouldn't evict her. And the cops were like, sorry, we're idiots. And we, I don't know.
You can't expect us to think for ourselves.
Yep.
They make sure that people that do that don't get these jobs in the first place. They have a lot of things put in place so that people that actually do that will not get these jobs in the first place.
I was recruited out of dumb school, so this is why I got the job. Yeah, it'll be
at the Dead Face Academy. I was a top student, scaling up for years.
Give me your best C- student. Give me your best C- student. Give me those C- students. I want them on the police force.
I want somebody just smart enough that they can memorize some of our ridiculous policies, but clueless enough that they will never ask questions. Get me a bunch of those.
Can you read and write but are devoid of critical thinking? Then the police department wants you.
You're in. You're in.
You're in. Can you barely sign your name? You get a gun. Well, all right. So thank you, Malcolm X, for explaining to us 50 some years ago what's happening today.
Sorry we missed the warning there. Sorry we missed that. Sorry we missed sorry Malcolm X. Sorry Martin Luther King. Sorry Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton, by the way, making these connections at the age of 21.
21.
I still can't believe that. I know that like people that watch, like Get Your News On with Ron and all the other shows, like I say that constantly because it just blows my mind. He was making those connections, and you look at his audiences and you see black people, white people, old people, young people, they were all listening to this guy, 21 freaking years old.
In an era where the country was way more segregated, like legally segregated.
Yes.
Very black and white, very separate.
And this guy just dropping truth. I mean, man, it's just humbling.
Yeah.
Listening to that guy and just, I mean, I know this isn't like a perfect comparison because, one's a comedian, but I mean, it's like you listen to the early Dick Gregory albums and stuff like that. And even like some of the early Red Fox stuff. And you think about what was going on in society at that time. And you're just, oh, man, this is when comedy was dangerous with a spark, man.
Yeah.
This is powerful stuff. And Fred Hampton, like that was powerful stuff. And the FBI was like, man, we got to shut this guy up. And for Dick Gregory, they were like, we got to keep an eye on this guy. We got to keep an eye on this guy for the rest of his freaking life.
Let's make sure he doesn't get too famous.
Yeah.
Notice that Dick Gregory never got too famous. Like he really didn't, but never was a mainstream guy. Like older people might remember him if they were big comedy fans, but he's not like Cosby or one of those names that everybody remembers. It's like, they made sure they kept Gregory pretty close. He didn't get a lot of TV spots. He didn't get a sitcom.
I mean, Cosby was the safer Dick
Yep.
Gregory. So it's like Dick Gregory was kind of, I mean, I think they were both from a comedic standpoint, obviously one, had a much better history as a human being behaving than the other. But, I think they were equally as good, but Cosby was kind of the acceptable for the mainstream where Dick Gregory wasn't. I told you about when I met him, right?
No, you met Dick Gregory? I met him
Yeah,
once. Hollywood
dude,
Improv.
I met him. I mean, I had my vinyl copy of one of his albums like you'd expect me to have. And I just sort of met him and just kind of babbled "It's an Honor" over and over again. Like I was a little tongue tied. So like I just meet him and he's like, "Hey man, what's your name?" I'm like, "I'm Ron." And he's like, "Are you a comic here, Ron?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a comic. It's such an honor." I was like, "Man, it's just really an honor." And he's like, "All right, Ron." And he signed my final.
All right.
I've only gotten tongue tied a few times in my life. I meeting Dick Gregory was one time. Meeting Amy Goodman was the other time. I think she would probably say the same thing about me. She's like, "Oh, he's the It's an Honor guy." That's all he says.
I met him probably 3 or 4 years ago at the Improv. He just came in. I was there early, I think, to do this podcast I was doing called Pop Divas with Joe Wagner. We did 4 episodes. It was very successful. And he just walked in. I was like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Gregory, how are you?" And it was like, it was really awesome. Maybe it was late at night. I can't remember. I can't remember. But anyway, it was at the Improv and it was awesome to meet him. But all right, let's answer a super chat. 197 people watching, folks. Please hit the like button and share this out on your social media. Hit the like button. Ron, retweet it if you haven't. Emblem Fate, shave your knuckles for justice. How MSNBC can trick people into believing just having a black person VP will have the same Libya. Obama doesn't care. Yeah. Have the scene Libya doesn't care about black people. Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying, Emblem Fate. Maybe I'm not reading that correctly. Can trick people into believing just having a, yeah, we'll have the same, I have the same Libya, Obama doesn't care. Yeah, I know. It's yeah, we're going to get into a little bit about the Democratic Convention. I watched part of it, not a lot, but we'll talk about that in a sec.
It's been a dude. I've watched some of it too. It's been quite, and of course they had Bernie on later than they were supposed to.
Of course.
It's like, this is like one of those when you kind of know the opening acts are terrible, so you just go for the main event, and the main event's late anyway, and you're like, come on, put the main event on time.
I know. Tisha T, shave your knuckles for justice. Thanks for supporting the show, Tisha. You can do what Tisha did and hit the super chat dollar icon, ladies and gentlemen. Can you and Ron sing Hunger Strike with Granny Petrol and Shatner? Yeah,
that's hilarious.
We can do that.
That's a hilarious request. Well, which one are you going to be? Because technically those are both your characters. I mean, I can't do Granny, so I'll do Shatner.
Okay.
I mean, I can do Shatner, so I can do Shatner, and you can do Granny Petrol.
Right. All right. Or I can do it as Nancy Pelosi. That's the usual.
I mean, that's usually the go-to.
I don't mind stealing bread. I can do it as Pelosi.
That's the Zoom show thing.
That's what we do at the Zoom show for sure. Kate, what's up, Kate? Shave your knuckles for justice. Dick Gregory has a good vegetarian cookbook. Oh, of course
I heard that. Yeah.
Of course he is. Awesome. I'd like to get that. Shave your thumbs for justice. You got that right. No brains required. Only skin shade and genitals. Thank you. I'm drinking wine. Thank you, Rick. I'm glad you're having a nice wine. Allison is making wine. All right.
Nice. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Did you see the latest Bill Clinton photos? No. Is
he like looking at somebody completely inappropriately? Usually when they catch him in a photo situation, that's what he's doing. He's like just looking at, I forget which singer it was, but he just had this he always has this ridiculous look on his face where it's almost like he knows a meme's coming, where he just looks just way too happy. And it's like, wow, dude, you gotta calm down. So I don't know, maybe he did another one of those.
No.
Is it worse? Maybe it's worse.
Yeah, let's just get right into this. Hold on.
I'm not gonna guess what else Bill Clinton did.
It's gonna be horrifying. Hold on. Jedi Mullet 77, Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Ron, did you know that Biden and Harris wouldn't go left even if they drove in NASCAR? Joke. He said I can try to use that joke. It's a fantastic joke.
It's a great joke.
Tisha T, what's up, Tisha? Shaving Knuckles for Justice. Remember when our biggest concern was who Bernie was going to pick for VP? Oh
boy.
Oh, the salad days, right?
Dude, it seems like such a carefree time. In reality, society was still crumbling. It's just we didn't have a pandemic going on. And there was still hope that like Bernie was going to be the next president and take this country in a better direction. And we were going to have to just have a bunch of direct action behind him. But at least we had an ally in the White House. Seems like such a carefree time.
I would kill for those problems.
Right? I mean,
rather than which is Biden going to not give us Medicare for all, or is he going to be out of the White House and then? So why won't you just stay there?
I actually think that Biden. I mean, I think Trump's not going anywhere. I don't think Biden's good. I mean, again, it changes so much, but I think if the election were held tonight, I think Trump wins.
This is driving me crazy. I can't seem to get it. All right. I keep having it. This is an issue.
So if it was like centered for the audience, it would be like kind of awkward looking for you. But like the audience sees the screen to the side of this. So they see your entire screen without you in it.
Right. I see it. Okay.
And then they see you at the side.
Right. So I want to do, here we go.
I mean, that's pretty good.
All right, folks. I hope you can see this, but it says photos allegedly show Bill Clinton receiving massage from Jeffrey Epstein accuser. Not
awesome
at all. The hours ahead of the former President Bill Clinton's appearance ahead of the DNC, the Daily Mail published photos. Ugh, these can't be good. Would you mind giving it a crack? Bill Clinton leans back and smiles while receiving neck massage from Epstein victim 22 and never before seen photos during trip to pedophiles plane in Africa in 2002 as he addresses Democratic convention tonight. Bill Clinton is seen enjoying a neck massage from Jeffrey Epstein victim and never before seen photographs obtained exclusively by the Daily Mail.
Behind every 2020 census taker's mask is a friendly neighbor. They'll be coming by to ask.
The images show Clinton, then 56, leaning back while Davies kneels on a chair behind him. And in the second image, he seems to be smiling in relief. Sean T. Davies, then a 22-year-old massage therapist, who, of course, was trafficked while she was a child. Epstein accused Madam Ghislaine Maxwell encouraged Davies to give Clinton massage while the group was refueling at a small airport in Portugal. Maxwell... Clinton's office previously issued a statement in regards to his travel on a plane and denied knowing anything about the financier's crimes. Right. Here we go.
Those are the photos?
Yep. These are the photos right here. This is... Oh, these are some other... so here's the photos. He complained of having a stiff neck after falling asleep on Epstein's notorious private jet while on a humanitarian trip with the pedophile to Africa in September 2002. After Maxwell's insistence, Clinton asked the 20-something, would you mind giving it a crack? Davies, who claims she was raped by Epstein after being recruited by Maxwell, said Clinton was a complete gentleman on the trip, and she described how the encounter occurred. But he didn't know. He complained of having a stiff neck. Yeah. Nobody knew. Boy, they didn't know when he was on the plane. Yeah. She previously said she was invited to travel to Africa 1 week before the departure, and when she arrived to the airfield, she was instructed to wear a uniform to look professional. Yeah, Clinton's team said he'd only taken 4 trips with Epstein on the Lolita Express in 2002 and 2003, but flight logs show he had taken a total of 26 individual flights in the course of those years. These are photos from the black 727 airliner dubbed the Lolita Express that had beds in it. Yeah. I was groggy and also have always been the queen of putting my foot in my, yeah. So this just goes into all of it. So this is what, yep. She was invited to join the trip 1 week before they decided. There she is. Yeah, Davis was thrust into Epstein's inner circle when she was training to be a massage therapist at a college in Los Angeles. She wound up meeting Jolene at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills. And just hours after meeting the now jailed socialite, Jolene contacted Davies and asked her to take a private jet with her to Epstein's Palm Beach home. In 2019, she was interviewed by the FBI and Assistant Attorney General of New Mexico. Epstein was arrested and charged in New York 5 days later. He committed suicide in his jail cell. Great. Perfect.
Totally checks out.
Totally checks out. Totally checks out. So, you know, is that Clinton like having sex with a minor? No.
Right.
Come on. First of all, he already lied. A year ago when he said I was only on 4 times and flight log showed 26 times, right there, he's a liar. And I had my friend Eric Oldenburg on the show, who's a former child crimes investigator, retired from the Phoenix Police Department. And I said, if you had a suspect tell you they'd only done something, been on a plane 4 times, but flight log showed 26, what would you think? He goes, they were hiding something. Immediately.
I don't think you have to be a professional investigator to put that together, even, you know. I mean, I think, I'm sure your friend does great work. It's nothing, but it's like, yeah, they said 4 times, it was 26. They might have something to hide. I think that's pretty fair. And yeah, this particular story, and for instance, I mean, there's not really all that much there. I mean, it might just be, oh, I'm a massage therapist, your neck's stiff. Sure, I'll give your neck a rub. All right, whatever. That doesn't really mean anything at all. I mean, he's clothed. It's not, I mean, it's just like, hey, I'm a professional. This is what I do. Hey, my neck's really messed up. Would you mind? Right. But again, it's like 26. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, like you said, that on its own is completely explainable.
Right.
Oh, he's flying. He's a former president. He's flying with a rich billionaire. A billionaire would absolutely have a non-creep billionaire would have a masseuse on a plane. I'm sure Air Force One has a masseuse on the plane, or whomever's president. But, and this is the like, nope, because when you have the 22 flight log discrepancies, you are on this, there's no way he didn't know who Jeffrey Epstein was. Just the idea that the Clintons had no idea. They stayed at his compound multiple times. And you're a president, right? So you're keenly aware of who you're associating with, especially, you know what I mean? Like, you're a former president, you have this big foundation. So if the Clintons were completely above board, which we're supposed to believe, they would have checked somebody out and gone, wait a minute. We just, like some people, was somebody like Stephen Hawking, like went to one event. Epstein had something where he invited a bunch of fancy scientists and they all didn't know and were like, I mean, oh, here's a rich guy that might give us money for research funding or something. Okay, great. I get that.
Right. Yeah, that's the difference. And yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. I mean, some people, it's like they kind of take it to an extreme where every single public figure they see who's ever crossed paths with the guy, they're all in on it. It's like, well, no, they might have gone to one event, not really knowing anything about this guy, like a Stephen Hawking. That is a world of difference between 26 times on a plane.
Yeah.
And especially when, not only are you a former president, not only do you have this foundation that's done some shady stuff, but you're also a former president who has kind of abused your power a little bit in the past when it comes to women. So, he's not,
I don't know.
Just a little bit. So
I'm trying to remember. Oh
Yeah,
no,
just in case.
it's funny because then the Trump people try to say, well, there's flight logs show Trump was only on Epstein's plane one time. And, the QAnoners or the Trumpers try to put Trump in that, like, oh, it's explainable category. And it's like, there's just too many connections. The Clintons have way too many connections. And so does Trump. Barr, Acosta. I mean, the fact that Trump and the Clintons were all friends, the fact that Virginia Roberts was trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago. Numerous women have come forward and said they were trafficked out of Mar-a-Lago. Numerous appearances in time with Ghislaine Maxwell. And then he says, I wish her well.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, that's also a kind of glaring, like, it really was just kind of like one crossing paths. So I wouldn't like, wow, that's horrible. I had no idea about this person. I only crossed paths with them once. Right. That's terrible. Not, I wish her well.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish her well. I really, it's just more evidence. And of course, because it's not 100%, like this incident isn't like showing him in the act with a child. They're going to use they're just trying right before our convention. This is a Trump tactic or whatever. And it's like, somebody out there has real evidence of all of them. The Clintons, Trump.
Do you think we're going to hear anything about what she knows? Like, do you think they're going to, because I've talked to some people that said like, they're going to give us a little bit of something. Cause it's like, they have to throw us a little bit of something because they threw us nothing with him. So it's like, they can't repeat that. I don't know if I'm that optimistic, though, to tell you the truth.
Well, I think what's going to happen is, here's what I think is there's some type of like ruling class battle happening, and Ghislaine Maxwell my guess is negotiating. I question whether she's been. If she is even in custody. I had Jason Burmis on the show who actually went to New Hampshire and saw where she was and talked to neighbors who said they saw her get arrested by the FBI and all this stuff. So, okay, let's make the assumption just for a second that she is in custody. She, in theory, and I did a story on a friend of hers said, oh, she's got all the evidence on all of these people. And she's very mean and conniving, and she's going to cover her ass. So my guess is there's several things happening. There's a mad scramble to try to find wherever these thumb drives or whatever evidence she has them on. All the video. That's the other thing. There's all this video that Epstein kept. I mean, he was an intelligence asset for the CIA, according to Acosta, said that in 2009 when he gave Epstein the sweetheart deal that William Barr also helped negotiate. So what you have to ask the question of, first of all, where are all these hard drives? All that stuff they seized out of Epstein's last summer. Where's all that info that the FBI should have? Where is all that? What is happening to that evidence? Then you have to ask where Ghislaine Maxwell, she has to have a get out of jail free card or something like that. And so she has. I mean,
it's crazy though, because it's like, yeah, they probably do have some pretty damning stuff, or I'm sure they do have some damning stuff. But on the same note, it's like there's so many people more powerful than them.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can they really access or not access? And I have no idea what the answer to that question is. I have no clue. I'd imagine the answer to that question would terrify me, but I have no idea, just how extensive, what they may or may not have access to is, just because as powerful as they are, they're mid-level.
No, I know that you're right.
In the scheme of things,
It's absolutely true. And it's this thing that Maria Farmer said in her interview with Whitney Webb that we had on the show. She's like, Les Wexner is the head of the North American snake. Very few things happening about Les Wexner. And, the Rothschilds and the royal family, the people who actually pick who gets to be president. So even if you want to look in that capacity, those people are more powerful than the Clintons and the Trumps. and Prince Andrew, those people might be going, you know what? We're going to give them just enough. So like, you have to ask, like, if Ghislaine Maxwell makes a deal with Trump, let's say, she's going to give up all Clinton and the Bidens. If she makes a deal with Clinton and the Bidens, then she's going to give up Trump. Like, she's sitting there holding potentially the election results in theory.
That's
hard drive.
That's a component of all this too. I mean, she could easily sink the election one way or another.
Assuming that, because in my opinion, the evidence that I've seen, Biden and Trump are both guilty. The Clintons and Trump are all guilty. So she could just say, all right, like rival, drug gangs could just go, we'll give them, you leave us alone, cops, district attorneys, we'll give you that big gang right there, but you better leave us alone. So who knows what's happening behind, because like when Prince Andrew gave that ridiculous interview on the BBC last fall, that was Buckingham Palace going, hey, Andrew, you better go on camera and clean this up. He's made it worse. He has since had 0 public appearances since then.
Listen, I don't have sweat glands, and I can't cry because I don't have sweat glands. And I also, because of my non-sweat glands, I don't know how to book a hotel because my non-sweat glands don't allow me to properly book a hotel. So I just put an ad on Craigslist. I'm just a prince. And this stranger said, well, you can stay with me. And I've got a big place. And it just turns out that was Jeffrey Epstein. That was the first I knew of him. And I don't know. And then we just went out that night, like you would with any stranger who you just wandered into their home. I mean, I don't know him. I don't remember taking that picture with that girl. Is that my hand on it? I can't tell. I actually have 5 hands. When you don't have sweat glands, you grow additional hands. It's a thing, and I use them for various things. But I can only feel in one of them. So only one of the hands I feel. The rest just have minds of their own, like in that weird horror movie spoof they made in America. And I can't book hotels.
And quite honestly, I don't think there's many hotels in Manhattan, to be serious. I've never been there. I don't know if New York City has a lot of high-end hotels for royal. So I'm just too honorable, and I lost my sweat glands in the war. And I remember distinctly the time I had pizza 12 years ago.
When I was going stateside, they said, well, what do you want to see? And I said, well, I mean, I fancy some of the hotspot places, Iowa, Nebraska. Oh. They were like, what about New York City? I said, I've not heard of it, but I'll try New York City. And I went to New York City. And I was like, well, I don't really see much to do here. I don't really I don't see many places to stay. They told me the pizza's quite a laugh. So
I only get pizza once every 20 years, and I already had it. So there was no place for me to go, quite honestly. I'm too honorable of a man.
My name is Prince Andrew, not Queen Marguerite, so I don't have pizza.
I love how your accent is more of like a Cockney, whatever, like a bloke who grew up playing in like a... You sound like a guy from a British rock documentary.
Well, where do you think I learned?
I love all of your British accents are just from a British rock doc. Yeah, and in those days we just be banging about, you know what I mean? And then that's why we created a sound, when Jimi Hendrix came over from Paris, and then we just made an album.
They told us that the album could only be 11 tracks because Led Zeppelin was recording in the larger studio adjacent. I went up to Robert Plant. I said, my lyrics and your music, we could be quite a little great rock and roll band, not realizing that Robert Plant wrote a lot of the lyrics for Zeppelin. And after that, we never really quite got on. That's a true story. That is a true story about Jethro Tull and Led Zeppelin when they were recording in the same studio, and Jethro Tull was making Aqualung and Led Zeppelin was making whatever album that they made that year in 1971.
Nice. All right.
You have to know that forever now, Graham.
That's I'll never forget it. Ron, I will never, now that I know that, I will never forget it. All right. So there it is. Bill Clinton, more evidence that he's filthy and guilty. Lock them all up. Lock up the ruling class. Trump, the Clintons, Biden, Obama, the Bushes. I don't care. Lock them up. Get Les Wexner. Anybody that was tied to Epstein, Alan Dershowitz, lock them up. Keep Gitmo open just for them. I'm not in favor of waterboarding unless they're part of the sex trafficking ruling class. Then I think they deserve a little water.
Every rule has this exception, Graham.
Boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. Emblem Fate. Thanks for showing that vid. My point was neolibs need to see Libya before they talk about how great a black VIP is awful and highly disturbing. Yeah, absolutely. It's, and we're going to talk about that in a second. DNC is a cult. Absolutely. Great way to support the show is do what Steve Wolfbrandt did. Hit the dollar icon button. Shave your knuckles for justice. If Trump pardoned Snowden and legalized cannabis, he would win this thing. Oh, I know. And here's the crazy thing is Trump is such a narcissist and an egomaniac. He can't handle losing. And he might like go crazy out left and just go, oh, UBI and free weed. And like, I'm going to legalize cannabis to pay for everything or something like that. And then his culty following will be like, I'm smoking weed for America or whatever they'll do. And
Freedom weed.
Freedom weed, man. Not that hippie weed. This is American Eagle weed. You know, this is
American Eagle weed.
This is a weed that was flown in on the talons of an American eagle. It's a bacon rack, steak truck, gun weed.
You smoke the weed, you want to eat more steak. Dude, I mean, I think the cannabis thing, definitely. I actually think that pardoning Snowden could potentially hurt someone politically, whoever would do it, which it's sad that that's the case.
Right.
But that's the reality of the thick propaganda of demonizing whistleblowers. That has happened for years now in the United States. Bush did it. Obama did it. You know, they've all done it. Trump's doing it too. I wish he would pardon Snowden. I think the best psychology we could use to get him to do that is just remind him. I mean, I tweeted this. I'm like, dude, someone just remind him that Obama didn't like Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
Just remind him. Like, just, hey, man, Obama didn't like Edward Snowden. Obama didn't like him. We want you to do the right thing here, and we don't care what your reason is. You can have whatever bogus reason you want. Just do. And Obama didn't like him. Obama didn't like him.
I know, that's
Hillary Clinton didn't like Julian Assange. Hillary Clinton really didn't like Julian Assange. If you pardon both of them, man, you would make those folks mad.
Yeah. And they like, he's the kind of thing, like if Trump does lose and let's say he loses, and I don't think that if he loses, I don't think he's going to go quietly, but let's say he loses and said, okay, fine, I'll leave. When you swear in Joe Biden, I'm done on the 21st, it's over. But those 3 months, I think he might just go, yeah, Snowden's free, Julian Assange, like he gets a palace at Mar-a-Lago, which is so much about Trump I obviously don't like, and he's offensive and scary and a fascist. But if he freed those guys, I'd be like, okay. And
exactly. And I don't care what his reasons are.
Right.
He might have just done it because he hates Obama and Hillary. Fine. If they're free, that's great.
No, he's right, because somebody in the chat wrote, but pardoning Snowden would trigger the libs that's such a partisan upside. But that's a reason why he might do it. And of course, libs would be like, Snowden is a criminal, so's Chelsea Manning, which would be like, nope, they're whistleblowers, man. But if that meant they got free, I'd be all for it. I mean,
me too.
I would be all, I don't care what the circumstances are. If Julian Assange got free and was back with his family and was not, at risk of getting COVID in Belmarsh prison, I don't care how it would happen. I'd be happy that it happened. So that is a tactic. And if you told all of his followers, Obama hated Snowden and Julian Assange, they'd start marching, and in favor of it. I don't know. Maybe they'd bring their guns to the Capitol for them. I don't know. Let's just be like insane. We're in crazy times. Like anything's possible. Anything's possible. All right, folks. 140 watching. Hit the like button. He won't pardon him. Tisha, that's why he won't pardon. So yeah,
No, I don't think he will either. I mean, we saw what his big pardon was. His big pardon was Susan B. Anthony. That was the pardon he was, dangling over people's heads. Oh, I'm going to pardon someone. And it was a, posthumous pardon for Susan B. Anthony, which is a nice symbolic action. And I, of course, I appreciate that. I'm up for it. I think it's a good thing, but it's a little less substantial. I mean, it's less substantial when you say, hey, we've done wrong in the past. and we want to right that wrong. That's great. Presidents have done it. I think it's nice to show like, society's evolving, but I think it's a lot more substantial when you say we're doing wrong. Present tense, we're doing wrong, and we're going to fix course. That's a lot more substantial because there's a lot of, these people are alive to see the benefits of their pardon. And, he could have pardoned Edward Snowden. He could have pardoned Julian Assange. He could have pardoned all the journalists and activists, all female, by the way, who are still facing charges from DAPL. He could have pardoned all of them.
Yep.
Which, by the way, that would have been another kind of thumb in your nose at Obama, because Obama was just, did nothing about any of those charges, said he wanted to see DAPL play out. Mm-hmm. So, pardon those people.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't want Trump to win. I don't want him to be president. He is dangerous and scary and all that stuff. But if Biden were to win, not much is going to change. I mean, middle ground on climate policy. We won't have Medicare for all. He's not going to defund the police. People in Portland are going to, in cities like that, if you're protesting, there's going to be federal troops that are come snatch you up in an unmarked van. The van will just have a rainbow on it, but they're going to come snatch you up, just like, they got snatched up at federal troops beat the shit out of people and snatch people up at Occupy Wall Street. They did it at Standing Rock. They did it at Baltimore for the Freddie Gray protests.
Well, let me ask you this, because a friend of mine, I was discussing this with a buddy of mine, my buddy Michael Harkins, and I've been thinking about it a lot since, where it's like, if Biden is the next president, all of a sudden that whole just kind of Trump is the reason, well, that goes away. Yep. So now all of a sudden you see this situation where, again, things aren't really getting better. I think the protests will continue. I don't think it's not going to be like 2008, where if a Democrat becomes president, people are going to go back to sleep. I honestly don't think that's going to happen. I think on a small scale it will. I think the Alyssa Milanos of the world, for instance, they're just going to go back to brunch, which that's pretty much all they've been doing anyway. So fine.
Because they can afford to. And I think this is the difference, like you're saying, from 2008. As we talked about earlier, the 28 million evictions, that does, and that's by I hate to break it to you. That's, anyone out there watching, it's bipartisan. So your MAGA hat, your voting will do shirt, it's not going to protect you from that. And the authoritarian police that have been emboldened for the last 3 to 4 decades, and the AUMA, the NDAA that was signed by Biden and Obama in 2011, that's still in place, baby. The Patriot Act is still in place. I think you're right, Ron. I think the Alyssa Milanos will go back to sleep because they'll just be in their mansions, making videos going, oh, we're all in this together as I'm, having, grapes fed to me by my tennis court or whatever. But everybody else is losing.
They're not going to. And the thing is, when they're looking out and they're seeing Joe Biden as president and nothing's getting better.
Right.
I think that's when people are going to be like, you know what? We can't, Trump's not here. So it turns out it's not just Trump. It's this system as a whole. Yeah. These people who are calling for systemic change and saying that we can't do it through the two-party duopoly, they're freaking right. And then if you got something like Movement running people in 2022, 2024, I think one silver lining here, if Joe Biden is the next president, I think there's 57% of people in this country that say we need a new viable party outside of the two-party duopoly. I think if Biden becomes president, I think that number gets even higher within a year of his presidency. I do think so.
I think there's a couple little historical parallels to draw from, and nothing is like this. So, everyone was pretty mad at LBJ for Vietnam. He ran on this, I'm going to give everybody schools and everything. And he kept ramping up Vietnam. And Nixon said, I'm going to get us out of Vietnam, and then kept that going. And people just were like, we're done. And I think they saw both parties were lying about Vietnam. The Pentagon Papers came out, and it was like, LBJ knew, Nixon knew, JFK knew, Truman, this had been covered up, and people were like, oh, everybody's lying to us. Everybody's lying to us. And what, like we've been talking about, what's even more is, so there's the climate collapse now. We're seeing this record breaking temperatures every week, 120, 130 degrees, like insane temperatures, which is going to cause more fires and floods and everything else. We have no lockdown on, this pandemic, we don't know what's going to happen with this. It could get worse. What happens if another one comes? We don't know how to handle anything. And you're right. I think if Biden, and I'm like, I really want Biden to win for these two reasons. One, I want Trump out of there, but two, and I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden because I live in a blue state. I just can't vote for the guy. But you're right. When he wins, I'm going to be like, okay, are you going back to brunch? Because you're getting evicted no matter what. And the economic hardship and a democratically controlled Congress, and we took back, when I hear we took back the Senate, I'm going to be like, they're not going to give you UBI. They're not going to give you Medicare for all. And as somebody just put in the chat, Kamala and Joe Biden are going to crush Black Lives Matter, or just try to co-opt it and turn it into like a Pepsi commercial or some shit like that. Because they will definitely try to take the teeth out of it. And that's when Black Lives Matter is going to have to really go, okay, we got our Democrat in there. Trump's gone. We got a black woman vice president, and she is kicking our ass just like Trump and Pence did. And oh, wow, you know what? Maybe the Obama years weren't that great. And it's time to because everyone is waking especially the white people that are waking up like, wow, there is systemic racism, and I make this equation. When you tell me the lesser of two evils, and, a third party's bad, I go, you sound just like hey, I don't see race, or, not all cops are bad, just a few bad apples. I go, you're saying the same type of things.
Isn't it interesting, Graham, in society, we're just uttering cliches that don't really mean anything, that you didn't think of yourself, somehow makes you the adult in the room.
I know.
Whenever, I wish somebody could explain that to me someday. It'll never make sense to me. I'm the adult in the room. This election isn't about policy. Politics is about policy. What are you talking about? How are you the adult in the room?
It's crazy. And then I hope Biden wins, because actually, this channel will probably blow up. I'll do great, because I'll just every week go, oh, here's another awful thing that's killing everybody. Oh, look what the Democratic, look what your lesser of two evils just got you. Are you ready? Are you ready? Or when is this progressive?
Yeah,
we're gonna pull Joe Biden to the left. Oh,
when's he gonna be our FDR? That's the thing, man. There's so many more people, because Donald Trump became president. There was this mass awakening of people that realized we need true systemic change. And there's a big number of those people now, which is great. But within that big number, there's still a lot of people that think we can just do that via this duopoly. And if Biden does become the next president, the number of people that realize that's not the case, that number is going to get a lot bigger. Yeah. And that's a silver lining, man. That's a silver lining. And if Movement for a People's Party, if they're trying to run people in 2022, 2024, that could be the freaking moment, dude. That could be the moment.
Well, I'm hoping all these people that are out in this, look, there was just massive riots this past couple of days in Seattle and Portland. Those two cities have Democratic mayors.
Yeah.
They're big blue areas, man. And the Democratic mayors are sending their police out there to beat the shit out of the people. The Democratic mayors are not holding the police unions accountable. The Democratic mayors are saying, oh, these agitators and all this other crap. So I hope people are waking up that you think the Democratic Party is going to save you. Okay.
Well, look at us in California, man. We don't even need to go up to the Northwest. We can talk about what we do here at home. California, fifth largest GDP, fifth largest economy in the frickin' world. Meanwhile, whenever there's a heat wave, we might have to turn off people's powers. We might have to turn off people's power because, heaven forbid, we invest in the infrastructure we need for our grids. We need to continue the same BS and having this lousy infrastructure where these fires continue to happen because, heaven forbid, these companies' profits take a little dip. So we have this lousy infrastructure, 5th largest GDP in the world, can't have a proper energy infrastructure, can't have a high-speed train, and democratically controlled. Democratically controlled. We're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything. Well, hopefully we do. But as of right now, people are begging for AB 13, whatever it is. I forget the exact number off the top of my head, to get Gavin Newsom to sign that piece of policy so people stay in their homes and don't get evicted. And by the way, that policy's not great. These people are eventually going to have a ton of back rent that they're going to have to pay. It's not great, but it at least keeps people in their homes. I mean, it is the bare minimum that you can do for people to just keep them in their homes and give them a reasonable amount of time to try to pay their debt off.
I know that's the other thing. The best option here is you get to stay in your home, but you're going to have, anywhere from 2 to 6 months of back rent.
Yeah. Yeah. And come 2022, the collector's here. So you either got to come out with a payment plan that you can afford. Hopefully you have a job, or eventually you're going to lose your home. And you can say, well, at least hopefully there's not a pandemic going on at that point. That's our best hope here in the, quote, progressive utopia of California. You want to know where the progressive hubs are in the United States? I do too. And I've lived in California. I've lived in Seattle. And the conclusion I've come to? There are no progressive places to live in the United States. It frickin' doesn't exist. Full disclaimer, I've never lived in Eugene, Oregon. That might be the one lone exception. That might be the only, and I probably not, because frickin' Nike's nearby. So, and I love Eugene. Don't take that the wrong way. Shout out to Eugene. I'm just saying there are no real progressive places in the United States. It's just not a thing. That doesn't mean there aren't awesome cities full of awesome people. There's just not progressive
Austin,
cities.
Boulder. These are great cities.
Totally.
Wisconsin, Asheville, North Carolina. These are great cities.
Great places. We're
real progressives in every city. Houston, Atlanta. We've been all over the country. We can tell you that.
Absolutely
you're watching the show, but where like the city council's progressive and the mayor's progressive. No, they're at best, they're like not that bad corporate Democrats. Like that's the best option you're going to get in this horrific oligarchy. But I want to answer this question because it relates to our conversation. Aiden Daniel said, shave your knuckles for justice. Do you guys think it's possible that the Democrats are trying to lose to Trump?
Yeah. I do. I mean, do you think if their number one concern was winning, you see one guy who can't string a sentence together and has more skeletons in his closet that he never has to decorate for Halloween again in his life, and you see another guy who's filling up stadiums and has a freaking movement behind him that he's been amplifying for 4 freaking years, and you go to that other dude? If you're trying to win, is that what you do? And you can talk about let's appeal to the moderate Republicans so you're blue in the face. I guess we're going to see if that works out because he's got the John Kasich.
Yeah, I mean, that's just oh God.
And that if Trump wins, so much of the Democrats, they're just going to see dollar signs. I'm hoping Nancy Pelosi loses in November. I really hope she loses. But if she doesn't, if Trump wins, she'll be celebrating in her freezer full of ice cream because she is going to see so many dollar signs. She is going to fundraise so much money if he wins.
I know. And all these voting blue will do suckers will go, oh, we got to vote to stop Trump. Like, it's unbelievable to me. So we'll see what, let me bring this up, real quick. Louise Brooks, shaving knuckles for justice. Sorry, Louise, I lost it in StreamYard. I can't put it on the screen, but shout out to Status Coup covering protests on the ground at the DNC convention. Nice.
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah.
Nice. Status Quo's out there on this.
Yeah, they've been traveling a lot. Jordan has this like socially distanced microphone. He has like a pole that he holds the microphone on so he can be like 6 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
From people.
Well, I want to show this in relation to, where was that? I just put that. Where did that go? I just had that. Oh, man. Come on. Hold on, I wanted to show this tweet that was put out there. So Michelle Obama spoke at the DNC convention last night. Innocent people of color continue to be murdered, but stating the simple fact that a Black Lives Matter is still met with derision from the nation's highest office, which is very accurate here in America. Listen to Michelle Obama's powerful speech at the value of Black lives. Sarah Abdullah, Lebanese like analyst, journalist, whatever you want to call her. Africans are being sold in slave markets in Libya because of Obama's intervention. This is the thing too that neoliberals really got to wake up to. It's great that we're addressing the Black Lives Matter and the systemic racism, but then they want to turn a blind eye in the same way like white people who grew up in all white neighborhoods were like, I had no idea the cops were this bad. I mean, they were always nice to me when they came by our little suburban cul-de-sac, and they never hassled us unless we were like smoking weed or doing something we should have been. And a lot of white people are like, since the George Floyd murder and protests, are waking up to that fact. Oh my God, they need to wake up. They need to wake up to the 8 years of Obama and Biden, because the way they talk about the Middle East, yeah, that's too bad. The way they talk about the Middle East and just sort of like, they sound like, sorry what happened to George Floyd, but he had a criminal record. Like they sound like that kind of crap, because it's like, how many people of color, poor people of color in the Middle East were murdered by Obama and Biden? They dropped more bombs than Bush. Bush, who's a war criminal murderer, who now is embraced by Michelle Obama and other lefties. Like, when are the Vote Any Blue Will Do crowd going to wake up to the awful war crimes of Obama and Biden?
That's a very good question, because I think a lot of people, they also don't take another step and make the connection between the domestic issues and our foreign policy. They don't make that connection, where it's just like, the reason we don't have all these social programs that other countries like us take for granted is because we spend our entire budget on an empire of war that just pads the pockets of the people running this place.
Right.
It brutalizes and terrorizes people across the globe, and it prohibits us from having a better quality of life here at home. And it exploits the people. It exploits our brothers and sisters who come from, in most cases, difficult economic backgrounds and have to go fight these wars for rich oil profiteers, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why
stuff like, oh, well, Gaddafi was a brutal dictator. Oh, so now you're happy there's slave markets and innocent people got killed? Like, yeah. I mean, we're talking about brutal dictators. What if Russia or China just blocked our ports like we're doing in Yemen, and 85,000 American children died because of starvation, like what has happened in Yemen? Are you okay with that?
Yeah. And it's like, then you hear, I mean, even people like Stephen Colbert going, well, I think America is a force for good around the world. Do you really think that?
Jesus.
What are you missing? Like, what are you not paying attention to? What are you not following that you actually think that? Do you actually know what we're doing around the world? You think an economy based on war that brutalizes people, that bombs weddings, that, I mean, all of these things, the list can go on, that has bombed school buses with children on them. This is a force for good. This is a force for good. What? Because their leader's not the greatest person in the world? Show me a leader who's great, first of all. Show me a leader who's not corrupt to some extent. I mean, I'm not saying other places in the world don't have their problems. Of course they do. But you think our intervention is doing good things, and we should just celebrate this? And this is why we don't have healthcare? This is, I mean, granted, we could pay for it many times over because we know what, we know how MMT works and stuff like that. But the powers that be, they're never going to let something like that happen. So instead, they just put all of our resources into war, and we can't have healthcare, and we can't. I mean, it's just, and the cycle continues. And I think so many, especially like some of the people you're describing, the blue no matter who, Obama was great. They just don't realize any of that stuff, or they just don't want to come to terms with any of that stuff.
They don't want to come to terms with it. Look, they were forced to come to terms with police brutality with George Floyd. Everybody was on lockdown at home during a quarantine. They had to watch that video. We've seen other horrific videos, unfortunately, in this country, but that one everybody had to watch because they were home. They couldn't like, oh, I'm busy. I got to go to work and pick up my kids. It sucks. It's awful, but dang, what are we going to do? They had to sit and watch it. And then everybody took to the streets. And then they saw a week or 2 weeks worth of videos of cops beating the shit out of each other. And a lot of like middle-class white kids and white people finally waking up, went on the streets, and they got the shit kicked out of them by cops and went, wow, this is real. Cops are brutal. But you know what? Yemen is 10,000 miles away, man. And if Stephen Colbert says it's worth the price, we don't want to face it, because just in the same way the white community didn't want to really look at systemic racism and unarmed black people getting murdered by the police. They just didn't want to, they wanted to make it because it didn't come right on their front lawn. When it came on the front lawn, everybody woke up. Well, bombing 7 countries isn't on their front lawn, so they think. Even though how are we going to pay for Medicare? How are we going to pay for free college? How are we going to pay for UBI in a pandemic? People are hopefully in the way they're like calling for defunding the police and waking up to like how police departments are funded. Like we've talked about, LAPD gets 54% of Los Angeles's total operating budget. And people are going, what? I didn't know that. That's way too much. I hope they wake up. But it's hard because the reason Stephen Colbert says crap like that, he's the fuzzy, fun, googly, giggly little late night liberal. Well, he is given, if you look at this, the propaganda multiplier, he is giving State Department talking points that are written by the White House, Central Intelligence Agency, and the Pentagon, and they're fed to news agencies, and then they're filtered all down here. So the America is a force for good. That's told to you not just by the news, but it's told you by like Marvel movies. And, what won the best documentary several years ago? Icarus. Soviet, Russia was cheating with steroids. Of course they were, but we cheat with steroids all the time, and we're not held that accountable. And this controlling of the media, it's also, I've done videos on this. Like, look, Stephen Colbert has the same, his agent is the same agent that's with Anderson Cooper, that's with everybody else. So that's another way that they control the media and control that narrative that we're a force for good, rather than going, we're so numb to war. We're okay with Trump doing it. When Trump wants to pull out from war, people on the left criticize him. Like, that's mystifying to me. That's just like, it's mystifying. And it comes to this quote here. From Malcolm X, if you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed, poor people in the Middle East, and loving the people who are doing the oppressing, the United States.
Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, Hollywood's part of it, man. I mean, you mentioned it's like these talent agents. Well, it's mostly the one agency more than anything, but they just, CAA signed Pete Buttigieg recently.
Yes.
I mean, what the hell does he do, by the way? First of all, I guess he just makes speeches. But why should he be on your talent agency?
Exactly. Why is a formal naval intelligence officer on your talent roster?
Man, and I know that here in Southern California, and I don't want to take this to insider baseball, so feel free to cut me off if you want to, but I know that LA is changing and we don't really know what the future holds. But the more I think about it, I'm just like, if it gets knocked down a few pegs, that's not a bad thing. This whole wheel of let's just make the next blockbuster because we know it's going to make money and that's going to keep us afloat. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some of these Marvel movies in the theater. They're enjoyable, whatever, but it's just fluff. It's just fluff. And the cycle continues. If that kind of changes a little bit and becomes like smaller studios and more independent endeavors start becoming the lay of the land, I'm okay with it. I'm totally fine with it. Especially, and we'll adapt accordingly. I'm not freaking worried.
Well, first of all, LA for the first month just had average rents have come down for the first time in 10 years. So LA is completely out of control. LA is like the apex of the wealth inequities in this country. When you have these egregiously gross award shows, I used to follow them for my movie podcast, but it just got disgusting to watch these celebrities in $30,000 in jewelry and clothes talk about their causes on this on this show that has, $100 million in advertising revenue coming in. Like, we're also it's so unfair for us in Hollywood. And it's just like, you're so tone deaf, and they think they're the good liberals and they badmouth Trump. Okay. Yeah. Trump's bad, but they will not call out Obama because Harvey Weinstein gave the Democrats totaling in the neighborhood of $2.3 million in donations, but everybody's a little quiet about that one. Epstein has ties to Hollywood. Like, I'm just tired of it. And if this business gets knocked down a little bit and there's affordable rents and, people are actually making real art in the music and film, there's no social commentary. There's nobody allowed to make any of the stuff you and I talk about. Like, you're a big music fan and I'm a big movie fan. The music and the movies from the 60s and 70s was revolutionary. And then the big corporations came in and said, nope, you can't talk about any of that stuff. You can't make a song called War. What is it good for? You can't make that song. You can't make The Deer Hunter anymore. You can't make that. You can't make 3 Days of the Condor. You can't make that movie anymore, man. So, like we talked about earlier, Dick Gregory, his jokes aren't going to he's not going to get a Netflix special. Get drunk and take your shirt off, or talk about how much you're getting laid and being a dad or being a slutty mom or whatever the thing. You can talk about that, but you can't talk about anything real, man. There's a reason why you and I don't have Netflix specials. I mean, we were trying to shoot one and put it up on Rockfin, but
Part of the problem is the pandemic made us not able to make it. That was that's the biggest issue. We weren't able to shoot that special, which next year's another year. But but yeah, dude. I mean, I think that it's just so like this has been coming for a long time, and you kind of realize like it was getting to that point. I mean, a friend of mine once told this story where he was like, the first week I landed in LA. And this was years before I even got here. So this was a while ago. He's like, dude, I saw on the same block, I saw a woman in a fur coat that had to have been worth thousands of dollars. And she had this dog, and presumably it was a new dog because it wasn't really well trained yet. The dog grabbed the coat, tore it off her and just destroyed the coat. And she laughed because she thought it was cute because she has that kind of means. And right next to her was a guy holding a cup, asking for change, who was homeless. And that's LA, man. That is LA. And it's getting to the point where it's just like, and people have noticed it, that it's like people, if you're like a 20-something with a dream, you're not coming here unless you got parents with means these days. I mean, that's just the thing that's happening. So the people that come to LA, they either have rich parents or they've been in comedy for years already and have established themselves to a degree. So they're like, okay, I should be here now. And that's it. No one else. I mean, there's very few that are just able to come here.
When I moved here in 1995 in my early 20s with a couple of buddies, we had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment for $700.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't exist. Like, I don't know how you would do it today. You'd have to like get 4 people in a bed. You have to have a bunch of roommates sleeping on top of each other. You have to drive for Uber or Lyft. You or Grubhub or whatever. I don't know how you can make it. So it's like, if it gets taken down a couple of pegs, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but it kind of needs it because it's gotten way out of line.
Yeah, no one has to get hurt. People are just going to leave.
Yeah.
And the people that stay, they're going to stay for the right reasons, presumably. And yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm just like, you know what? Let's wait and see what happens and adjust accordingly. And I'm fine with, the digital landscape becoming the digital landscape, and whatever's going to happen with LA will happen.
Boom. Shave your knuckles for justice. Tisha T, thank you for supporting the show, Tisha. Shave your knuckles for justice. You're making Gotham great again. If an alien from outer space wanted you and Ron to entertain him or her for Earth's survival, what would you two sing?
What would we do?
What would we do? Would we sing, do comedy, or dance? I mean, comedy's our strength, but it's
I'm pretty sure we should go with the strongest option. So we would probably do comedy.
But what will it translate to an alien race?
Oh yeah, we might need to go song.
Yeah, maybe our horrible karaoke voices. Maybe they would love Eddie Vedder doing karaoke songs. Maybe
they might connect with that. I mean, the sounds will be fun.
I mean, they're from outer space. They probably like Star Trek. I mean, right?
Right.
Shatner.
Yeah. I mean, it's a show about them, right?
It is a show.
Like, we already made a show about you. We figured you were around. Glad you finally got to meet the smartest ones. Welcome to Earth. We're crushing it.
Oh yeah. All right. I hope that answers your question, Tisha. Plant powered radio. There are radical musicians. They just don't get airtime except maybe community stations. David Rovix.
I dragged you to see David Rovix.
Yes. And that's
you know this. David's great.
He's great.
You got to have him on sometime, man.
Yeah, I should. Because
he'd do your show.
In your 70s, he probably would have got a lot of play. He would have played those big festivals. He would have been like at Woodstock with Arlo Guthrie or whatever. Today, he's hidden. I have to know him through you. You got to take me to some secret thing in Topanga at some Requiem Den or whatever we were at.
That's like some weird art space in Topanga Canyon. That was a fun show.
Yeah.
But David's great. Thanks for giving him a shout out. Yeah,
there's so many people like that you just don't hear about. I mean, Lee Camp is not as famous as he should be. Lee Camp's doing fine. He's having a fine career, but he should be like a mega star, but he's not because he's on RT and they throttle him and all this other stuff. And it's just like, all that. All right, I think I got one more segment here. Actually, you know what? I'll do that tomorrow. All right. Yeah, we've been talking for a while. 181 viewers. Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. 227 likes. Check out the Portland protest rapper. Ooh, I will do that. Backyard Politics. That's another great YouTube show. Check it out. Backyard Politics. What else? Bring on the dancing. They're asking us to dance. Hey guys, any info on the Yas Queen comic books? I think they are late. I'm not sure. You'd have to talk to Joy, Savage Joy, about when that thing's coming out. I'm not sure. Should be out soon, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let me. All right, we'll do this. We'll do one more segment and then we'll sing a song. Yeah, I didn't know Jimmy was going to go live. All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the Political Vigilante. Look at that graphic pop up there. Isn't it gorgeous? Making Gotham great again. Great way to support the show, folks, is go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where you can submit articles like Lauren D'Alessandro has done. She's been supporting the show from early on. Lauren, thank you so much. You get bonus content for as little as $2 a month, and you're supporting everything that I do. You get early access. There's all these different tiers. You get early access to audio, to video, all this cool stuff. The podcast, the live streams that I do. As soon as the live stream is done, I take it off of YouTube and I put it on Patreon at the $10 level. So if you miss any of the live streams, you can watch the whole archive of everything. It's a great way to support the show. And so when you submit articles, it's great because you viewers out there are keeping me informed, which means I'm keeping more of you informed. So Lauren, you are a political vigilante. New survey confirms second wave of U.S. layoffs is well underway. And I've been talking a lot about this, and we've been talking about the 28 million evictions that are looming, but already the layoffs are starting. And I'm going to go into this study. So since July, initial and continuing claims have risen, suggesting the worst employment crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s continues to unfold. New evidence published Tuesday in a study by Cornell Law School senior fellow and adjunct professional Daniel Alpert reveals the second round of the layoffs is becoming more severe as the fiscal cliff begins. The study, conducted from July 23rd to August 1st by Alpert and RIWI Corp., shows 31% of employees initially laid off or furloughed because of the virus-induced recession were just recently laid off a second time. And I can give you just a personal example. I know some people in the airline industry who were put on furlough and they kept waiting for that to happen. And they kind of did some work and then they were furloughed and then they were laid off, or furloughed and then they were actually did a little work over the summer and now they're about ready to get laid off again. It's brutal. Just on a small business level, I've seen this, and I'm sure you have examples in your neighborhood in Santa Monica, where I live. ZJ's Boarding House is a surf shop. It's my local shop. It's been here for over 30 years. They were obviously shut down in March from the quarantine, from the pandemic, the shutdown that we all went through, and they reopened in June, so they didn't make business in March, April, and May. That's like the spring is like everybody's ramping up into the summer. People are buying surfboards, getting ready for the summer. Like they do business year round, but there's way more surfing in the spring and summer, obviously. So this is the start of their busy time of the year if they're shut down. They opened up in June and they were trying to stay afloat. I even went in there when I got my unemployment and bought a couple things to keep them. And they're like, we're staying open. And they had a for rent sign in this little window. And about 3 weeks, a month ago, everyone was coming, are you guys going out of business? They even put a sign up saying, we are not closing. 50%, we're just having a big sale. They were just trying to, and they weren't getting any new products. They were like trying to just sell their inventory. And then about a week or two ago, they put up a sign saying we are closing, and they went out of business. That's an example of a business that was shut down, tried to stay open, and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. And that's what this study is showing. And like, I know we have, and I'm sure you got more personal examples. Before we get into those, Ron, I just want to give you a little more stats from this study, but I wanted to give that personal experience and you can share with us. So this is from this Cornell study, right? Data as of August 1st, 2020. Here's the highlights for the study. Of workers who were placed back on payrolls after being initially laid off / furloughed as a result of the COVID-19 crisis, 31% report that they have been laid off a second time, and another 26% of those placed back on payrolls report being told by their employers that they may be laid off again. Look at that. That is a staggering number. 37% of respondents employed by third-party employees, i.e. not self-employed, have been laid off or furloughed at least once. 57% of those initially laid off, furloughed, reported being put back on payroll sometime after their initial dismissal. But 39% of such respondents say they were put back on payroll, yet were not asked to return to actual work. The second round of layoffs are happening in states that have not, this is a critical statistic here, in states that have not been experiencing recent COVID-19 surges relative to those in surging states, which is scary right there, because you'd think, oh, it's the states that are surging, but it's even states that haven't been surging. Mm-hmm. So the initial shutdown was so catastrophic that a bunch of businesses aren't going to come back. And then the biggest takeaway from the survey is that there is no V-shaped economic recovery, meaning the economy was here, COVID, boom, and then it's going to shoot back up. That's not happening. And in the back half of the year, the Trump administration, Congress, the Trump administration and Congress will need to pass trillions of dollars more in direct payments to tens of millions of broke Americans or face a crash in consumption. Wall Street is ignoring the deep economic scarring from the virus. As we've recently mentioned, permanent job loss now stands at nearly 3 million in June, up from 1.6 million people in February. Gary Shilling, the president of A. Gary Shilling & Co., recently told CNBC that Wall Street has misread the shape of the economic recovery, as he warns a 1930s-style decline in the stock market could be ahead. Ron Placone, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, hey, this is why there are now members of the Fed who, keep in mind, they think of all this, cast aside all the moral components of this, the component that we are a capitalism death cult and it's so morally, repulsive. Just put all of that aside right now and just try to look at it through the lens they look at it from, where we are just all widgets and, we just want to, it's all about the economy, baby. Even they are now saying we'd be better off with another shutdown and the government takes care of people. And then in 6 to 8 weeks, we'll be where we should have been the first time. And then we start to reopen in phases the way other countries are doing. Even they are now saying we should do that, because otherwise we're just going to keep going in these waves where, as you're indicating, these businesses, I think we got this figured out. We're going to be fine. Well, but then the numbers go back up again. They can't stay open. More people lose their jobs. They can't spend money in the economy. The other places can't stay open as a result. We're just going to go in this like declining wave because we didn't get it right the first time. And it's to the point where even the Fed and the powers that be are saying, give people money so they can stay afloat and let people stay home till we get the numbers where they need to be to control this thing. But it's not going to freaking happen.
Well, the other thing too, they have to be looking is like, oh, we shut everything down and we gave people $1,200 and some people got some unemployment. I still know people that didn't get it. I know a lot of people that did, but even the unemployment wasn't this like, nobody's unemployment was the level of money they were making.
No.
So no one was like, oh, when things open, I'm going to be able to spend it up. Everyone's just like, oh, I'm barely getting by. You know, I'm barely paying my rent. This unemployment is helping. It's keeping me from like not paying rent, but I pay rent and buy groceries and have very little left over.
Yeah.
And what is left over, I can't go spend on the handful of businesses that are kind of open. So it's like, and then God forbid you get COVID and you get some 10, 20, 100,000. I even heard of a guy getting $1 million doctor bill.
Yep.
So we haven't done any, like if everybody was told you get free healthcare, everything's paid for, stay home, here's $3,000 a month, and we're suspending rent or whatever it is, like pay your rent, but you get $3,000 a month. So, okay, then we can all stay in our rent. So the landlords, because many landlords aren't big businesses, some of them are, but there's a lot of just, small business owners, just somebody bought a rental unit to make some money off of. They're hurting. That revenue stream is, so if everybody was done the right way, we wouldn't be in this. But now we've made it worse from the actual virus side. We haven't curtailed the virus. It's gotten worse from a health standpoint. And then we did it the dumb way on the economic.
Yeah. We've completely screwed ourselves in every way imaginable. We've mismanaged this no matter what lens you look at it from. We've completely screwed it up.
And there's no leadership. We've got whack job Trump, and then we've got this weak Democratic Party that, people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they don't want to help us. They don't want to give us Medicare for all. Joe Biden doesn't want to give us Medicare for all. Kamala Harris doesn't want to give us Medicare for all. And the progressives within the party are like Bernie, who I was a big advocate for, obviously, on the show. Now you're just like, oh, he's this centrist quitter that's really good with tweets. Like,
oh, so many of them are.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so many of them are. And that's why it's like, I refuse. I mean, I have been telling people, do not retweet a politician ever. Don't like their tweets. Every tweet a politician puts out, no matter who it is, no matter whether it's Bernie, anyone else, it doesn't matter who it is. It should just be ratioed, where it's just like, what are you doing? I mean, the only exception to that is maybe like local politicians, like a Shama Zuwan or something like that. But people in Congress, people in the Senate, whatever. What could you do with an extra $2,000 a month? Stop placating me. Stop. You know what? I bet the government has a ministry of appeasement we don't know about, where it's just these politicians tweeting these nice things to kind of put you at ease and make you think somebody's fighting for you. They're not. So I'm like, do not retweet them. Do not like their tweets. And you know what? Ever since I've been saying that, I shit you not, some politicians have been unfollowing me on Twitter. Good. Unfrickin' follow me.
Good.
If you don't see me as a friend, frickin' good. I
don't want the friendship of a politician.
No, I don't either.
I inherently don't trust you. If you're running for one of the two big parties, I don't trust you. I just don't. And if you're running for the first time and you're a big progressive and you're going against a big corporate incumbent, great. I hope you win. But my question is always the same. I'm going to start the clock. When are you going to sell out?
It's one of those things. Like, I mean, it's not that I don't support different people or I want to see different people win, but you can rest assured I'm going to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like give them a pass or whatever. So it's like, great. If you see me as like an other, where it's like, this guy's an outsider, and if I start messing around, he's not going to be quiet about it. Good. That means I'm doing my job. Yep. If you see me as a buddy that you want me to hold a dinner for you or something. I mean, I don't have that kind of money, so no one's going to ask me that anytime soon. But you want me to have a dinner for you or something, then I screwed up. I did something wrong.
Yeah. I don't want you texting me. I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah. So unfollow me until you're blue in the face. Have fun.
Yeah.
Pun intended, by the way, with the blue part. Go ahead, unfollow me.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, unless you're like with Movement for a People's Party or Green, or you're an independent, then yeah, let's talk.
Right.
No, because you already made a choice that you're already telling me that you're not, you can't reform this utterly corrupt Republican Party from within. You know it's corrupt and you're just done with it. That, Jill Stein's got my phone number. She can have it the rest of her life because she's earned it. But if she was like, Graham, the Democrats, I really are going to turn the corner, I'd be like, oh, Dr. Stein, no. She's fantastic, man. And just watching clips from this, I couldn't watch more than about 70 seconds of clips from this ridiculous convention that has started. That is just like Trump bad, Trump bad. Okay, great. Trump's bad. You won't own any of the things that are the Democrats, the Clintons, Obama, Biden, all of them have allowed Trump to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really making it out like it's a new party with new ideas too, by the way. With like, oh, look at these speakers, the Clintons, the Obamas. Yes. Here's our guy, Joe Biden. New ideas. Wait a second. Here's the kicker. Here's something new. We got 4 Republicans. Not just, I know we have a lot more Republicans but Republicans in name even. We got 4 of those, and AOC gets 60 seconds. How telling is that? The Republicans, there's 4 of them. AOC, 60 seconds.
60 seconds. And then they put Bernie on at the end, and he says his Bernie stuff. And it's like, if Trump is so bad, if you were so worried about Trump, why didn't you fight harder? Like, why did you just acquiesce that he was so bad? Like, it's just mystifying to me.
Why didn't you make it clear that Biden couldn't beat him?
Yes.
Why didn't you really just scream it from the Raptors that you want? So look around, look out. Those are my people. That can beat Trump. This guy in this half-full gymnasium.
I'm selling out stadiums. I'm the guy.
Yeah. I'm the guy. Exactly. I'm the freaking guy.
Joe Biden can't do it. He can't do it. Like he just the further
I just got a standing ovation. This guy just yelled at a Latino activist to go vote for Trump because he asked him a reasonable question. You're going to go with that guy? That guy's going to beat Trump.
I have more individual donors than any politician in the history of politics in America. And that guy just said, listen, fat.
Yeah. I mean, no kidding. And it's like, that's why it's so mind-boggling, dude. And that's why it's like you can easily come to the conclusion that the Democratic Party's first priority is not winning.
Yep. That's their first priority. How do we not win? How do we just corral progressives and people who call themselves lefty or liberals? How do we just corral them and nosedive them and just tell them how bad the Republicans are? It's like, okay, this is what you get, man. So this economic collapse is coming, everybody. And the Democrats, again, I hope Biden wins and Trump is out of office, and then we will see a Democratic Party I hope they win the Senate and the Congress, and then you can see all these Democrats not do a damn thing.
And then you can say, is there an alternative to this? And people can say, yes, there is. It's called Movement for a People's Party. Yeah, because it's time.
The thing, like my generation, the Gen Xers, too many of them are dumbass neoliberal vote any blue will do people. They're still, I'm hearing them on social media. Friends of mine say the same crap I've heard for 30 years, Ron. I've heard we're going to pull Joe Biden to the left. Oh my God. You didn't pull Obama to the left. You didn't pull Bill Clinton to the left. Carter was already left, and he had one term because he couldn't rescue the hostages in Iran. LBJ didn't get pulled to the left. JFK was murdered. Truman didn't get pulled to the left. The last guy that was pulled to the left was FDR, who started at the way left.
Yeah, well, he did it voluntarily.
Yeah.
FDR did it voluntarily. He had the foresight to be like, yeah, they're pissed off out there. Rich people, I get it. You like being rich. I don't blame you, but you're going to have to give a little bit, or they're coming in here, and I can't stop them. So, sorry.
He ran all left because he was like, we're all going to get beheaded unless you let me go this hard left.
Yeah. Yeah. And he didn't tolerate BS about it either. He was like, this is what we're doing.
we haven't had a left in the Democratic Party with any kind of power for any sustainable time since the 1930s. Like, when are people going to wake the fuck up?
Since FDR.
Since FDR. My faith is in people your age and younger who are on the street.
Me too.
Who are actively going, I'm a socialist. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm done with this crap. Those are the people who are going to be the quickest to turn. They're on social media watching shows like this, watching JFK speak in 1962 saying, we need healthcare. We're decades behind Europe. Watching Dr. King socialist speeches, not the dream that we've all heard, which is a fantastic speech, but his talking about socialism. Watching Malcolm X call out the white liberal is the most dangerous thing out there. You know, like watching all of this, watching like what Bobby Kennedy, they're seeing all of this going, damn, they're learning about Fred Hampton.
So, well, and the Zoomers especially, man, they are just badass.
Yeah.
The stuff they're doing on TikTok and the stuff like they are out there. I mean, there was that 16-year-old girl for Jen Perlman that got pushed by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Oh. Shout out to Jen. I really hope she pulls a victory. You know, and the Zoomers are, I mean, I kind of wish as millennial, I mean, you know, I like all generations. All generations have, you know, good folks and bad folks like anything else in the world. But, you know, as a millennial, when I look around at our bench, so to speak, and I see people like Pete Buttigieg and Joe Kennedy, I just think, you know what? What if we skip our turn and just go straight to the Zoomers? What if we're like, we're going to be creatives. We're going to continue to be artists and activists. We'll do that. But on the electoral side, we're just going to let you guys have our turn and you guys just have a longer turn for like a while and then make sure your children are awesome too. What if we do? I mean, we're still doing our part. We're just recognizing that, oh, our bench isn't so great. You guys take over.
Yep.
We'll do other things. Let us know how we can help out otherwise.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Shave your knuckles for justice. J.H. Scott 6. Glad both of you don't desire to be friends with politicians. Eventually, most politicians sell out to corporations and their own greed. Yep. Yes, that is true. All right.
Locals excluded.
Locals.
Locals are excluded. Not saying that no local politicians sell out. Of course, that's not the case. There's corruption in local politics like anything else. But I feel like with local politicians, that rule, there's a little more leniency in that, you know, that rule doesn't apply as, you know, heavily.
Right.
I would love to be friends with Shama Zuwant. Is what I'm saying.
Well, she's not a Democrat. She's a socialist.
Not.
Of course, I would absolutely be friends with her because she said, I'm a socialist.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, she would like hold us more accountable than we would her. You know what I mean? Like she'd be like, hey guys, your YouTube channel needs to be a little more left. Like
I let everybody into the building and you weren't there covering it. Yeah. Where were you? I used my key. I let them into City Hall. We drew pictures on people. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actually did that in there. I mean, it'd be funny if they did, but I have no idea if that actually happened. But she did let them in.
I let revolutionaries take over City Hall while you guys were wearing wigs and masks and doing wacky characters.
Why'd you have a Zoom show that night? You should have been streaming this. You could have cracked jokes during it. You would have found funny in it.
Why?
But instead, you were
smoothie when you should have been at City Hall. How about that? All right.
The NFL bit could have waited.
Yeah, because that's someone I would really like to be friends with because I have mad respect for her, man. Mad respect. Because if you're still running within a party, okay. But there's a part of you, I guess, that still is hoping that cool kids like you. You're still hoping you get elevated to cool kid town and you're going to be at the next convention and part of you still hopes the cool kids invite you to their party. There's still
I think in most cases that's the case. I do think there are some exceptions out there where people really felt like they had no other viable option. And that's why I really want to see movement do well. Right. You know, I mean, you know, like Angelica Dueñas comes to my mind, who ran as a Green,
right? And
it was just really difficult for her to get any leeway that way, right. And that's not a bash of the Greens. They just only have so many resources to go around, and she has just seen better success them entering. So
I get that, and yeah,
you
I have
know.
respect for her, and it's someone I gotta have her on my show because
She's awesome. She's awesome, and she's got a shot. Yeah,
she has a shot, and she deserves. You know, I keep forgetting to have her on the show.
Yeah, you got to have her, man. She's a great guest.
No, she's a great guest, and I was on her your show with her, and it was great talking to her. And I've met her personally, and I like her stance and everything. And that is a fair example of like the Greens just don't have the infrastructure the Democratic Party does. But it just that thing when you get a little too close to the top, man, they just all of a sudden you're calling Pelosi Mama Bear. Only took about 14 months, AOC. Only took about 14 months, man. Ray Foley, thank you for supporting the show. Ray's a big movement for a people party person.
I know it.
In Chicago.
He's a people party person, that Ray.
He's a people party person, Ray.
One of those. That's on his card. People's party person, Ray.
All right. You got it, Backyard Politics. Check out Backyard Politics show. Check out Indy. She's out there on the streets, man. All right, let's what song do you want to sing, Ron?
What was the request that we got? Wasn't it I'm going hungry?
Yeah,
Hunger Strike. Yeah,
we're gonna do a Hunger Strike.
All right, so I'll do Shatner and you do
I'm gonna do Nancy Pelosi.
All right, let's do it.
Hold on, let me pull it up. Ron, while I'm waiting to do that, while I'm pulling this up, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your program?
That's a great idea, Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Ron Placone, and please follow my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ron Placone. I stream most weekdays, always Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific for Get Your News On with Ron. Fiorello from the Convo Couch is going to be on the show tomorrow to talk about what ends up happening tonight. So tomorrow may be a celebratory episode. Maybe not. We don't know yet, but it's going to be an episode. Huh?
What could happen tonight?
Well, Jen Perlman could win and Debbie Wasserman Schultz is gone. Or, they might cheat again and Debbie Wasserman Schultz doesn't go anywhere. So, but we're going to be talking about what they saw in South Florida one way or another. And, and then I'm probably going to do another short video on Thursday. So youtube.com/Ron Placone. You can follow my YouTube show there. You can get Your News On with Ron wherever you get podcasts. If you prefer the audio, you can find me on Rockfin, just Ron Placone. And of course, ronplacone.com is the hub for all things Ron Placone-esque. And someday there's going to be tour dates on there. Damn it. Someday.
God
someday there will be tour dates. And I can't wait.
We will do another Zoom show. That was fun. We did Friday. That was a fun show. So
that was a really fun one.
Every 2-3 weeks, we'll bang one out because they're a lot of fun to do. Matt S., Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Reports are showing George Floyd died from fentanyl OD, and the cops may walk. What kind of nightmare do y'all predict if that happens? They'll be insane. That will be the match that lights the whole country.
That's gonna be.
You can't. I don't care how much you put a knee on a guy's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. You murdered him, and so they're going to come up with some bullshit like this. And if these cops walk, it will be bedlam. And those cops, if the city and state of Minneapolis, if the officials that run this country, if there's cops out there that don't want to get overrun by people with guns and pitchforks, you need to convict these officers, because if they walk, it'll be insane. It'll be insane.
Yeah, I think that's a fair prediction.
Yeah. Y'all missed Status Quo live in Milwaukee. Interviewed Yellow Vests against DNC. Nice. All right. Thank you for that, Matt S. Thanks for supporting the show. Really appreciate all the support, folks. Great ways to support the show. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification button. Watch the ads all the way through. When you click skip ad, I don't get paid. That's a great free way to support the show. Sharing this on your social media is just, even if you have a small amount of followers, any new subscriber, new viewer always helps. And then there is, if you go to grahamelwood.com, there's the Vigilante Volume 2, The Dark Knight. There was only 50 tins made. There's about 20 some left. So So over half of them have been sold already. They'll be gone in the next week or two for sure. So they're numbered. You can support, and there's all these products you can buy, and it's free shipping. And I put all this stuff on sale, so you can get one of my DVDs and some tea for $25, or one of my shirts and the tea for $30 total. Free shipping. I use the post office because I support the post office. They're great for small businesses, and which is union labor. And the packaging is all recycled materials. They're supporting me, a small business owner. The maker of the tea is Jeffrey from ZT, which is a small business owner. And then, of course, if you go to grahamelwood.com, I have a PayPal button if you prefer doing a one-time donation. I have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood for one-time donations. I have a P.O. box if you prefer staying off the grid and sending me whatever. I appreciate that. And then, of course, there's rockfin.com/Graham-Elwood, a blockchain cryptocurrency platform that is fantastic. So you can support all of those things. All right, here is... Thank you, Kate, for putting up grahamelwood.com/shop. Here we go. I'm going to put this over here. Hold on.
I'm going to pull up the lyrics.
All right. Can you see it on my karaoke page?
Here, let me see if I can. Yeah, I can see it. It's a little small for me.
Or what if I go big screen here? Look
Oh,
at
yeah,
that.
I can see that now.
All right. I could screen share this and make it even bigger. Or is this good right here?
I think this is good. Yeah, we can stick with this.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do it as Nancy Pelosi. You're going to do it as Shatner.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, everybody, for watching the show. Well, I don't mind
stealing bread
from the mouths of decadence. But I can't feed
on the powerless.
When my cup's already
overfilled.
Hey, Brad.
Hey.
But it's on the table.
The fire's cooking.
And they're farming babies.
The slaves are all working. Ying.
But it's on the table, Ron.
The mouths are choking, Nancy.
But I'm going hungry.
Yeah.
I don't mind stealing bread
from the mouths of decadence.
I like ice cream, Ron. But
I prefer Wendy's salads.
I can't feed on the powerless.
When my cup's already overfilled.
Oh, no.
Oh.
But it's on the table.
The fire's cooking.
And they're farming babies.
The slaves are all working.
And it's on the table, Ron.
The mouths are choking, Nancy.
But I'm going hungry.
Con, I'm going hungry.
I'm going hungry for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris 2020.
I'm going hungry, Scotty.
Ron, doing this musical interlude, I want to tell you that the DNC has the most progressive platform we've ever had.
Oh, yeah?
Helping banks and venture capitalists and hedge funds finally get the help they need.
I think they've already gotten like way too much help. What about the people?
Stop yelling at me, Ron. I'm going hungry.
I'm going hungry. Yeah. I'm going hungry. Scotty. It's like waiting to beam up.
We're going to beam up some ice cream to the working class for a nominal cost
of $10,000.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm going hungry.
I'm going hungry. Spock. I'm going hungry. Carafun.
Carafun, Mike. Why did I call you Mike, Ron? Whatever your name is, it doesn't matter, right?
Same difference. Yeah.
It's
Mike, Ron,
it's all the same. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on the live stream. We had what do we have? 302 likes. All right. Not bad considering Jimmy went live at the same time. I didn't realize that.
I didn't know he was going live.
Neither did I. But this was fantastic. It's really great having you all out here, and I hope everybody's liking the StreamYard. It's so much better. We can do all this cool stuff. So thank you everybody for coming on the chat. I appreciate all your questions. And support the show and go to ronplacone.com. And of course, we'll announce another Zoom show probably in the next week or so. So, all right, I'm going to wrap us up here. Thanks for making Gotham great again. Go to ronplacone.com, go to grahamelwood.com, and remember, shave your knuckles for justice.